Hi there, Venus in Taurus. What a gorgeous thing to have to talk about. Oh, what a challenge. No, this is the easiest and most beautiful placement for Venus. It is at home in Venus. So if you enjoy this video, please send me a comment, like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and go to the website and send me a message if you'd like a professional reading of your whole birth chart. This is just one tiny element in terms of your whole 360 degree chart. This video also applies to you if you have Venus in the second house. And as I say, Venus is at home in Taurus. This is a really comfortable place for it to be. It's to do with harmony and balance and nature, and working with nature and not against it, and appreciating all the finer things in life, whatever that means. Whichever sphere that's in, whether that's man-made or natural, it all comes from the same source. It really values deliciousness and how much you can savor things. This is a savoring, tasty feeling. With Taurus being fixed earth energy, you can be extremely content within yourself and extremely content within your beautiful home and surroundings. And what I ask you, what I beg of you, please share this around. Share this as fixed energy and fixed earth energy. This can be stuck, and this can be very, very inevitably self-centered. But this is something that many people in the world need to learn from, is how to integrate Venus into life in a way that is not as a weapon, really. Many people, they dress up themselves and dress up their environment and dress up their words and dress up their sexuality and all of these things almost as a means to weaponize them, to get something in this very dualistic world and environment of transaction. And the great thing about you not necessarily really having that desire, because you don't need anything external to bolster you. And that can be a key thing. It's a key thing you can learn from yourself. When I talk about things that are not you, I also mean the things that you have accumulated within your psyche, which are still not you. What is truly you is very Venusian, very naturally graceful and naturally beautiful, and naturally able to see beauty and harmony in everything. This is the anti-cortisol placement. This is anti-stress, and knowing what sounds good is sound healing. It's what looks good. It's art therapy. It's what tastes good. What food is right. Chirimoyas, these kind of like gushing. Can you see? It's just like juicy. And it's deliciousness and sweetness and of course, what happens with Taurus is there can be a greed, and there can be too much of something, too much of a good thing. See, it's just juicy. It's like vanilla pudding. Wow. But of course, with this archetype, it can be jaded and confused because we label the wrong things as being delicious and the right things as being too sweet and too much and something we can't quite process. So although this seems like the place for overindulgence and donuts and all kinds of artificial sugariness, it's actually the place for detoxification. It's the place for, wow, how much is less more? Being able to bring it on back down into the body, and oh my god, it's just delicious to be alive. It's just delicious to get the natural food in its natural packaging, you know, instead of having to even opt into the whole story. You know, I love this about Venus, where there'll be a war going on over there about, do we use plastic bags or do we not? And, you know, debating, which I'll get onto when I talk about the Gemini Venus. But with Taurus Venus, it can slide past all of that and just pick up a banana, which has its own wrapper, and just, I'm above all of that. And it's not with a arrogance. It's with I'm not going to participate in that. That's just my decision. You know, it's just what I choose to do with my energy, and it's very humble and peaceful. And when I say to please share this with people, this can literally just be in your own social media, this can be in your own behavior, and just don't be ashamed of it, don't hold back, you know. And if someone asks you, that's the key, is being asked, then share. Something that may seem obvious to you may not be to others. So this is why I then ask you to look at your Mars placement and see, what is your Mars doing? Mars is your active, dynamic self that wants to engage. And how can you make that interact with your Venus placement? Which house is your Venus in? Is it in the second house or is it in another? And how does that interact? That kind of shade of Venus, it will direct where your values will be. If it's in the 7th house, your values will be more related to relationships, for example. And Venus is all about values, and how much can your values align with something very universal. And by universal I mean God's laws. I mean the natural laws that you see, which means that you're not going against the grain, you're not fighting against anything. And it's really that whole thing about like picking your battles and then realizing you don't need to have any battles, you don't need to fight anyone. You can make it work for you and not lose out on anything. What is your career and what are you doing with money? This is someone who's very, very, very affluent and very good with money, believe it or not. And this is the gate and the key to your abundance if you are struggling. If you are in other areas of your chart very impulsive or very punitive and in some kind of battle with yourself, with addictions and this sort of thing, this is where you can really step up your game and interact with a higher part of yourself that won't allow that to happen. This is the kind of affluence that means you've always got enough and you're always going to be satisfied. It's a very satisfying placement, and I really encourage you to engage the fact that you have this part of you that can be so soft and so harmonizing and calm and relaxed. And what kind of modalities are you interested in that help you harness this and help you multiply this feeling of calmness and actively know how to engage it, instead of, as with all things, you may have been judging it. You may have judged yourself as lazy or as not having enough ambition, when really you are more than enough and you don't need to have any grand ambitions. And with that lack of needing, you may actually find that you do have ambition in another way, in another area. So I encourage you to always look at the paradox. Ask yourself the paradoxical question. And it may take time to move through these phases of saying no to things and then saying yes again, and then playing with will, because as I say, with Venus in this position, it's very passive. So then to bring in other active parts of you and make them work through the lens of Venus, and that makes your life change from a tragedy into more of a romance, or more of a comedy, or more of just like a beautiful nature documentary, just something exquisite and timeless. So I really feel that Venus has so much to teach you, because it's at home here. There is no tension here. There is no friction for Venus to be in this sign. So I can't stop saying the word encourage, which is the opposite of what I feel with Aries, which is to slow down. With Taurus, it's like, how much can you swallow Venus whole? How much can you let it fill you up, and then breathe it out through your pores and through your everywhere? Just let it be you. Let yourself be Venus. Let it come through you in your life. So thank you so much for being here, and yes, contact me if you'd like to explore the other parts of your chart and see how they work together, how we make this beautiful dynamic painting come to life and turn it into a real living film, a motion picture. Take care.